views expressed on this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery podcast do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Recovery Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this episode should not be taken as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guests. KHLT and Take 12 Recovery Radio are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. Well, greetings, my friends. I am the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio, and this is the Came to Believe Recovery Podcast. And now, here are your Came to Believe Recovery podcasting broadcasters to launch us forth on this week's show. Well, greetings one and all, and welcome to another episode of the Came to Believe Recovery Podcast. With me is our CEO of Came to Believe Recovery, Mr. Tom Williams. There he is.
How are you, Monty? And you,
smiling.
Aren't you the CEO of Take 12 Radio?
Yes, I am.
Or is Marcia?
Well,
Depends who you ask, right?
You know what's in a title? Not much.
There you go.
Hey, listen, that little song in the beginning was called "Keep It in Motion" by Guided by Voices. I never heard of them. Have you ever heard of them?
Never.
Guided by Voices. Kind of liked it. You know, sometimes it's tricky searching for sound clips and things to be associated with our topic, which, by the way, this week is in motion. Take action. So we're going to be talking about that. Listeners, or those who are viewing, you may know that it's just me and Tom today. Alicia Martinez is taking care of some business that she needs to take care of, and so for now we're going to miss her, and we wish her well, and just keep her in your prayers. She's a great gal, and she's just going down a different avenue right now, and that's okay. That's okay. So we may be changing some things up here. We're just going to see how it goes. The most important thing is that we keep our ear close to God, and because we want to make sure that we're effective for Him. And I was looking at my co-host wall yesterday of all the different people that have co-hosted shows at Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting, and most of them have passed away.
Oh, boy. No.
Isn't that comforting, Tom?
Yes, Alicia did not pass away.
She did not pass away. Don't anybody think she did not pass away. She's fine. Yeah. So there you go. But I was like, oh, gee. And Marcia's like, well, you have a strange effect on people.
Yeah, that makes making me nervous.
Right.
I don't know if I want to stay.
Oh my goodness. Hey, we got some mail, buddy. Let's see here. Let's open up the mailbag and see who's writing us.
You've got mail.
La-di-da-di-da.
Mail in the mailbag, so open it now. We want to read.
All right, it's time to read mail from the Came to Believe Recovery mailbag, where you send in your questions, your comments, love us, hate us, anything in between. We welcome them. Their email address is Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, at cametobelieverecovery.org. All right, Mikey Y, 1850, has responded. This is in response to last week's show. We were talking about meeting makers. Do they make it? And sometimes people misunderstand and think we're anti-meeting. We're not. But if that's all you're doing, you may not stay sober. And we talked about projecting our sobriety or our personal morality on other people. Do we do that? Should we do that? Et cetera, et cetera. And so we invited Mikey Y, 1850, to respond because we had some comments about his mail. And so he says, okay, let's get more detailed. In my experience, meeting makers tend to work the program more often than those who, in the beginning, go to meetings sporadically. I'd agree with that. Wouldn't you, Tom?
I think I mean, it doesn't have to be that way, but you probably saying
to be.
It's
sure.
It could be something I'd agree with.
In that respect, meeting makers make it. Now, let's be real. Sharing your story is not projecting your sobriety onto another alcoholic. It is sharing your experience, strength, and hope. For me, to project my sobriety on another alcoholic means that I am not meeting them where they are. I am meeting them where I am. I can't remember how many times a newcomer looked at me like I was lying because I had more than 10 years sobriety or 20 or 30. It is up to me when helping someone new to relate to them where they are and share with them how it changes. When I expect a newcomer to do what I know worked for me, then I'm projecting my sobriety onto them because I have an expectation that is generally unreasonable. When I share the solution without expectation, I am meeting them where they are and not projecting my sobriety on them. Humility, not arrogance, is what I try to practice. So I wanted to camp out just for a minute on this sentence, this one statement he said, because I misunderstood it at first, and then I read it again, and I think I get it. He says, when I expect a newcomer to do what I know worked for me, I'm projecting my sobriety on them. My first reaction to that was, well, don't I want to share with them what worked for me? Isn't that the point? And I don't think he's saying that we're not to do that. I think he's saying when I expect the newcomer to do what I know worked for me. So he's talking about his own personal expectation. Well, I share my own personal story with them, and then I expect them to respond the way I think they should. That's where the problem is. And I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
But we share.
Because I have an expectation that is generally unreasonable. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we share. I mean, I think we shouldn't have any. I mean, as when you're in 12-step work like we're in, we have no expectation. Like we say, we're going to tell you what we did and what the founders did. If you want what we have, why don't you try it?
Right.
With no expectation, really.
Right.
And I think that's correct. You shouldn't be. The other comment, and I want to stay there in a minute, but before I forget, the other comment at the beginning where he talked about meeting makers make it. It seems that those that go to more meetings work the program more. I want to just clarify, or get him to clarify, what does he mean by work the program more? Does he
Okay,
mean
let me
that,
read that statement again.
Yeah, read that.
Okay, let's get more. In my experience, he says, meeting makers tend to work the program more often than those who, in the beginning, go to meetings sporadically.
But what is, if he's saying, and he could correct me, that the meeting is the program, coming there and sharing your you know what and just fellowshipping with people, that isn't correct in the strictest sense of Alcoholics Anonymous 12-step program. Would you agree?
That's not the right.
Yeah.
That's not going to meetings is not the program.
Yeah. So if you mean
It's the
that the
fellowship.
people that tend to be doing their 10, 11, and 12 and tend to be living the steps, well, okay, that would track.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, because Monty, we know so much today that the perception today is that Alcoholics Anonymous is the program is the meetings. The program is the fellowship. The program, people that are in the program are going to meetings and sharing. And, I had to tell her myself today. And that's the program.
Yeah.
And it's something, and it may not be hurting you, and it may be helping you stay abstinent. But and as our esteemed colleague Dale Barker would say, it's not what they did. That's all.
Right.
So,
Right.
so that would be something if he would clarify. I'm interested in that because we wouldn't want our listeners to think that, meeting attendance alone is what constitutes success.
Now, where I found out about the literature, the directives, the spiritual disciplines and principles in the 12 steps, I found out about it by going to a meeting.
Well, yeah, that's
Okay,
what they're for.
That's where I found out about it, and I went there. In the days of the founders, they came to you.
Right, yeah.
you were either in a mental institution or a hospital,
Yeah.
you know, thrown up. You know, that kind of, I was actually at my 12-step home group last night, and there was like 4 of us there. And I know the guy that kind of facilitates it gets a little discouraged. And I said, let your heart not be troubled, brother, because guess what? In the beginning, there were 2.
Right. You're right.
This is good. This is good. So, I mean, if you've got a room full of 200 people and only one person is applying and implementing the principles and the steps, or you have a room full of 4 people and all 4 of them are working together and applying the principles, which group of people is actually following the literature? The group with 4. Just saying.
Yeah.
Numbers don't always mean a whole heck of a lot.
And, you know, just to step back onto the other statement about if we expect them, if we just tell them what we did, I mean, the part of expecting them is true. You shouldn't expect.
Right.
But we certainly don't have anything else to share but what we did that got us sober. I mean, that's what we're
Exactly.
there to do. What am I going to... But you say it in that humble way. I agree with him and say, this is what I did. This is what happened to me. It's also what the guys did in the book. Give it a shot, maybe. You know, I'm a testimony to the fact that maybe if you do this, it'll work. It worked for millions of people. I mean, statistics and evidence for going on, 80 years now says if you do this, it will work. So we can kind of say that.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I
mean, it goes back to that rarely ever seen a person fail. I mean, if you do this, more than likely, if you do it the way it's laid out, more than likely you'll succeed.
You know, because I go, all right, Monty, I go to some, I've been to some meetings where they're very strict about you not giving advice or giving anything. And I think it's a disservice to the newcomer that comes in.
Yeah.
Not let people share their experience, strength, and hope in a more direct way. What did you do? Well, what I did was do the steps. And maybe if you want to try Alcoholics Anonymous, you came to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. So what Alcoholics Anonymous is a 12-step program, and we have a program. And if you want the success that 12 steps, we can show you how to do the program, but that's what it's about. And there are places that would frown on me sharing like that.
I know.
Right?
It's so funny because I'll hear, okay, we please refrain from crosstalk, blah, 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 and then the meeting's filled with it.
Right. The crosstalk, unless they can crosstalk to tell us not to talk about God or the steps.
Right.
That they can crosstalk with.
Well, I said one time in a meeting and nobody laughed, and I thought it was pretty funny. I said, so does no crosstalk mean I can't talk about Jesus? You know, the cross.
Oh, yeah. No.
I thought that was pretty clever. Hey, listen, Tommy Talk writes in, and he says, when I speak at a meeting, I am projecting my sobriety out to the newcomer, but that's kind of the point of sharing your experience, strength, and hope, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Wheeze007 says, having been in the rooms for 5 years, I can say I've seen the meeting makers make it slogan fall flat on its face. Meetings are important, but there's so much more to it than that.
Hey, mic drop.
Yeah, mic drop on that one. Absolutely. Yeah. If you've got a comment that you would like to send to us, like I say, love us, hate us, everything in between, please drop us an email at monty@caneforbelieverecovery.org or make a comment on our YouTube channel or any of the podcasting platforms listed at take12radio.com. Let's close the mailbag.
Mm-hmm.
Dum-da-dum.
Thank you for your mail, it means so much. A little piece of you just waiting to close.
What do we got?
You got mail.
That's right. Okay, the topic this week is in motion, take action. One of the questions here is: you are not stuck? You stopped. What's the barrier? What's going on? I mean, if you were in motion and all of a sudden you're not anymore, there's that commercial, and I think maybe it's an arthritis medication commercial or something. I'm not sure. It said where they talk about the body at rest stays at rest, the body in motion stays in motion.
Yeah.
And people prove that people that deal with chronic pain and arthritis and back issues and things like kind of like I do, boy, we know that to be true. As hard as it is to do our exercise, like with my hands, because the weather appears cold and so the arthritis really hurts, right? So I have to do my exercise every night. I got to do the hand thing. I've got to get up and I've got to move. We'll go to the store and sometimes there won't be a little putt-putt. My back's really killing me, but I'll do it anyway. I'll get a shopping cart if I have to lean against something, but I'll walk because I know it is good for me and I'm going to feel better at the end of the day. We don't like discomfort, though. I don't want to keep moving, right? And so I'm wondering if this isn't a conundrum that we have spiritually, emotionally, mentally.
Well, the movement. I mean, to go into the movement thing, physically movement. It's. I mean, taking action on change. It roots to, if you don't like where you are and you want to be someplace else, you have to take some action. In our case, when you go through the steps and you get to 10, 11, and 12, it's kind of we now are praying to God to improve our conscious contact, praying only for the will and the power to carry it out. And what we're doing is asking the Spirit to speak to our soul and our will and our judgment and our minds and our faculties. I was just reading this great thing in Bringle books, Bringle is a great theologian in the Wesleyan discipline, talking about this very thing, that God doesn't do it for you. He inspires you to do it as much as you're open to him, and gives you strength and discernment about doing it. But we got to go do it. Mm-hmm. So that's tough for some people. They don't. But we, in the 12-step work, what we try to do is understand what didn't work, right, Monty? And what was stopping us. And what was stopping us was these character defects that we let control us. So now we turn our control over to a different boss, who now all of a sudden we have options to make changes. And now, well, maybe I should go moving. And now my head's clear. I'll go to a gym and I'll go to this. And there's some medications I can take now. And I can learn about nutrition and I can learn about exercise. And these are things that living in the go will help us to start walking in.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things to kind of reflect on the meeting makers make it thing again, one of the things that we hear a lot in the rooms of recovery are so-and-so went back out, they relapsed, and you know they stopped going to meetings. And here's my idea about that. If I stop going to meetings and I relapse, I stopped going to meetings way before I stopped going to meetings.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Something was going on way before the meeting attendance dropped.
Well, and here's another pretty significant point. If the meetings are your program, then it makes sense when you stop going.
Yes.
Well,
Yes, absolutely does.
Was the meetings, we say
you're
that.
meeting dependent,
Right.
and they're no longer there, and you stop going. We saw it happen during COVID, right?
Yeah, right.
Look how many people relapsed. Why did they relapse? They didn't relapse because they were living in 10, 11, and 12. They relapsed because they stopped going to meetings because they were meeting dependent.
Right.
They
I
weren't
didn't have a
God
meeting. I didn't have a meeting to go to, so I relapsed. Well, couldn't talk. You and I, who live in a go and have a program, 10, 11, and 12, that we work every day, my relapse would be because I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be, it would certainly probably coincide with not going to meetings anymore because you stop doing that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And you pull away from all things that are helping you. But it's not the fact that I stopped going to meetings in my case, and I think in yours too, it wouldn't be.
Right.
So you're right. You hear that. And I mean, sometimes that's the action people take. And I think, let's play the devil's advocate, or the other side of this is that getting off your duff and going to be around in a fellowship of people trying to get better when you're trying to get better is not a bad thing to do.
Right.
Right. It's action. And if you got to go sit in those rooms for 2 or 3 weeks or even a month to decide you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, who are we to say not to do it?
Yeah, I'm glad you're there.
Right.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're there.
But when you come to a meeting we're run, you're going to hear it every week. Something about the steps, something about living in the go, something about where the solution came from. And you're going to hear that every week. And we're not going to make you do anything. But we hope that something grabs you and you say, well, I'd like to try that too. What worked seemed to be working for you guys? Because some people just, they don't trust. They say, yeah, you guys talk a big game, but over time they see it.
My mentor, this gentleman, I just love this guy, Chris S. He says, if you're in a group where they are not teaching you how to apply the 12 disciplines in those 12 steps for the purpose of developing a relationship with a power greater than yourself to help you solve your problem, if they're not doing that, you're in a bad group.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's pretty bold about that. That take the triangle off your door because that is not AA. But hey, we got people going to church too, and the furthest thing from what's going on in church is biblical.
Right. Well, that's a whole
Sometimes
podcast.
that's a whole other thing. But it's still the same kind of thing. People are church dependent, not God dependent, or synagogue dependent, not God dependent, or Weight Watcher dependent and not God dependent. I mean, pick your poison.
Pick your poison.
You know.
Let's talk about. I want to, because I preach this to people, and I know you do too. Practical things in our life that begin to change when we begin to walk 10, 11, and 12, and how, the step 9 says we intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us, which generally means we are working at things. We do something about them. We don't sit in the same problems all the time.
Right.
So what are some great examples for me? I was thinking about this today of I always say to somebody, listen, you got a problem. If there's something you can do about it, you ought to be doing it. If there isn't anything you can do about it, you need to accept it and keep going. Right? If you've done all you can do and you can't do any more, but if there's something you need to do to make this situation better, you should do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you ought to do. So here, a couple of things in my life, and they're really practical, but they're things that people might connect with. I travel a lot, as you know, on airplanes all the time, right? And there's lines, and there's security, and there's all these things that delay and make you wait in lines. And if you ever hear one of my talks anywhere, you know how much Tom loves to be in any kind of line, right? So listen, there's an element to Tom needs to get over why he needs to not be in what that waiting is about on the inside. There's a piece of that. But the other point is this. If there are things I can do to not be in these lines, I ought to be doing it. I joined Clear. I joined TSA PreCheck. I got Global Entry. All these programs that are out there that are designed to help you navigate airports smoothly. This is taking action. I sat down one day and said, what can I do? Is there anything I can do? Is there some, I can't control the lines. I can't control the airport, but what can I do? Well, I can get all these things and I can take action then. So I think that's part of me living in the go, understanding these are options I have instead of just security. Well, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
I could do, and I have a friend who didn't do that, and they cry and whine, and I go, get TSA Pre. You walk right through, Anyway,
Yeah.
that's. Does that
Yeah.
make sense to you as action?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely makes sense. Absolutely. So I'm thinking about it, in my case. I one of the things that I love in my life that I just absolutely have a passion for is creating things that are going to be involved in broadcasting. I mean, I love doing it. It is extremely time consuming. Does it make sense when I say I love it and I hate it? You know, have that love-hate relationship with it. It's like, oh my gosh, this week is just, I'll do this editing and this got messed up and that got messed up and I got to cut this out of a commercial that I made or whatever. And at the same time, I'm sitting there going, you know, I love what I do. Even though I'm really hating this right now, I love what I do. And so, you know, one of the things that I figured out a while back was, how can I make this smoother in my week? What can I do to make this just as effective as it is, but work smarter, not harder, right? And one of the things was, on Wednesday, after I get done posting the Came to Believe show, right, I start out and I start working on the templates for next week's Take 12 radio show for Monday and next week's Came to Believe show, the template. And for listeners' sake that don't know what that is, that's all the sound effects and all the stuff that you hear that has to be put together that you would not even think about. And so when I'm on track and my head's good, I'll get it done on Wednesday. Maybe it'll move into Thursday. But guess what? Then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I don't have to do it. And it's like, so there's other things I can do. I can meet with a sponsee. I can Saturday I can spend the day with Marcia. Sunday, you know, we can go to church and we can do the church thing and have family over for dinner. And I don't have to worry about any of it because it's done. It's done. Do I do that every week? No. Do I do it most weeks? Yes. The weeks that I don't do it because I get maybe I'm like, I'm kind of tired or whatever, I pay for it, brother.
Yeah.
Because Friday I'm having to do templates for 3 shows because I got a Friday one too that I do every other week. And I'm cramming like crazy and I'm in here at 8 in the morning and I'm not out of the studio until 9, 10, 11. Marcia's calling me on the phone. Hey, you okay? What's going on?
And it's your doing.
It's my doing.
Yeah.
I know what works. I know it works. And to the point of needing to be motivated, if I'm waiting to be motivated to do what I know works, I could be waiting a very long time. Because there are weeks I'm not motivated.
Right.
But when I get it done on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm like, wow. We talk about, was it you that asked the question, what are you doing with the 5 minutes that you got back? Or
Yeah, 6 hours.
6 hours that you got back. What are you doing with that? It's amazing when people say, I don't have time for something. I'm like, well, you'll never find the time. You have to make the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so if you would sit down, if a person, because there's people listening right now that are thinking, oh, I don't have time for this, and I don't have time for that. Well, if you'll sit down and just do it for one day and write it on your hand or a 3x5 card or something, every time you sit down and do nothing, like just nothing, or every time you sit down to watch the television or scroll on your Facebook when you don't have to, or write it down. I am telling you, at the end of the day, you will have accumulated more time than you can believe.
Yeah, that you could better allocate.
You sure
Right.
could.
You say to yourself, yeah, I could not do that. I could do this. I am 100% agree with you. Nobody ever has time. We fill all our time with whatever we're doing. So,
And you know what? People do what they really want to do.
Right?
They do.
I said, if you start doing whatever this is, then when someone else asks you to do something else, you'll say, I'm too busy to do that because you're just busy doing other things. I say, pretty soon you'll be busy doing this. You're busy doing it. I am 100% agreement. I have those kind of habits too, Monty. I don't like cleaning the house. I don't actually mind cleaning and vacuuming stuff. I don't. it's not one of the things I hate folding clothes and laundry. I don't know why.
I'm with you on that one, buddy. I'm with you.
But this is about taking action because I know it. And I know, like you, if I wait till the evening or I wait till I'm running out of stuff, it just really is annoying. I do have the choice to pick the best time of day to do it. And so I do it in the morning when I'm at the least subject to annoyance. So that matters. It's like you doing the tapings when you know you still have to do them.
Yeah.
But it's a better time to do them, and it alleviates the worst of the stresses that are involved with it, right?
Right.
I clean my house. Now, granted, I have a 2-bedroom condo, which isn't very big, and I'm the only one here, so it only gets so dirty, obviously. But I split it into like 4 cleaning segments, and if I do them, they all take about 15 minutes each one. And if I do one of them a day and rotate around, I never really feel like I'm cleaning. And it's always clean. And it solves the, your sister and brother are coming over tonight. Oh, I got to clean the house real quick. So I never have to do that because it's always within, a couple, hang up a coat or some little thing away from being presentable. But that's action. That's taking action on knowing things that keep our lives on track and keep us from spooling into things. And that's what we can, I mean, the more we're talking about this, Monty, the more, and we talk about this at retreats, living in the go. I mean, it's what drives, it's what embeds recovery in us is living this life where we have solutions to things now and we can create new habits. I love my coffee ready in the morning. So I make it and set the timer at night. I mean, every night I set the timer. I love to have it in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty organized. And when I see a problem, I'm quick to say, what can I do about this? Can I fix this? Can I do something about it? And then I go about doing it. Not every time.
Right.
But taking the action is what being empowered and understanding a bit about yourself, which are steps 1 through 9, give us that, right? Teach us a bit about how to do this. There's so much you can do. Life is it's the 4th dimension of existence the book talks about, right?
And it's fun. It's fun. So when I do that, when I follow through with what I know works, the structure that works, then I'm freed up to do things that are fun. Okay, so this board, with people that aren't watching on the video won't see it, but there's a big old disc back here that has our logo, the Cake to Believe Phoenix bird, on it. And if you flip it over, right, it's got the Montyman Take 12 Recovery Radio Show logo on that side, right? Did I need to do this? No. Did I want to? Was it fun? Yeah. It was a blast. And I enjoyed it. It was therapeutic, and it accomplished something. And I didn't have to pay for, $300 for a neon thing to hang up back there like some of these guys do. You get to do things that you want to do. You go, hey, I can go do this today because I freed up this amount of time. I can sit like you. You can sit down and you can play like Jimmy Page if you want to for 2 hours, right?
Because I've cleared the rest.
Because you cleared the rest, yeah.
You know, one thing you could do, though, you're talking about things behind you that we see and things that change and things. That other, you could take that gnome down.
You're going to pick on the gnome.
You knew I was
My
going
wife
there.
bought me that for Christmas.
Oh, you're going with the wife card. All right. So I think you should hang it in the house where she can see that you like it so much.
She hates it.
So what'd she buy it for you? That's love. She bought it for you anyway.
It is that is love. If I bring a gnome in the house, it's like I brought a dog that wasn't potty trained inside. You know what I mean? That's how much she loves gnomes.
Right. I do things like the car's always full of gas. Now, some people, Monty, might think, oh, you're getting obsessive and over. I don't think I am. I mean, I'm not crazy about it. Like I can have 3/4 of a tank for a while. I don't.
Right. I'm with you on that.
In general, I have a full tank of gas because I never know
when it's going to go up.
Yeah, or when I've got to go somewhere and
Yeah.
someone calls me and says, "Hey, can you come into the city tomorrow? Can you come?" I never want gas to be. It's a little bit of a military thing. We were always taught take ammo, food, and fuel anytime you can take them, no matter how much you have. Always take more, and water. So I got a little bit of that. Is when you can go. Yeah, now it's when it's going up, but I keep my gas tank. Yeah, it like never is below a half. And it's just a thing that I think, for me, it's one of the things that helps keep me on. You know, we maybe this can track with you, but being a little bit maybe overboard on being organized and being on top of things in your personal life, and you know the whole make your bed every day and keep the house straight. For us as recovered and people living in the go, it's anything that like reminds us of the old life, or anything that was a habit of the old life. Whether making your bed matters or not, I don't know. Right? Does it really matter? But it was associated with an old life that didn't work well. And so some of these new things aren't so much that I am obsessed and have to have every single thing in the right way, but they signal a different life that I lead today. Does that make sense to you?
Sure. Because if you know, part of the negative stuff of the past is associated with your room's a mess. And now you know, there is that thing about when you're making your bed, or put your slippers under your bed so you have to get down before you get up, so then you're on your knees and you can pray. You know, that kind of thing. I heard a buddy of mine named Mike D that lives here in town, and he always preaches that. You know, first thing I do when I get up in the morning after I visit the restroom, I make my bed, and that's become a staple for him. That's a habit that he's gotten into. It's there. Nothing else matters until that bed's made. I get that, you know, but you know, it's interesting because we were talking on this last week's show with Roger and Dion. We were talking about dishes, right? And I was thinking about it. So I was always taught when I was in food service, you clean as you go. You clean as you go. And so if you're preparing a meal at home, when you sit down to eat, the only thing that you need to clean is the dishes you're eating on, because you've cleaned everything as you go, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you're living with somebody that doesn't do that, one of two things will happen. It'll drive you nuts, or you'll step in and do it. Don't whine about it. You just do it. So I'll do that. So we'll
get resentful.
Or get resentful. So I get up right after everybody's done eating. If both the boys are over, and my one boy's wife and the grandkids and everything, and I'll start cleaning. And I was thinking about this the other day. I thought, am I doing this because I love my wife and want to make life easier for her, or am I doing this because I'm compulsive?
What was the answer?
I think I'm compulsive. And she gets to benefit from it.
Well,
oh, lucky her, you know. But no, I know there's a part of me, because I've told her before, she'll come home before she retired, she'd come home she goes, wow, thanks for cleaning the kitchen. And I'm like, I don't think you should have to come home from a full day's work to a dirty kitchen. That's not right for you. That's not fair to you. So I'm going to clean it.
Well, I think that's too. I'm totally like that because I'm very attentive to those kind of things. And someone else, if there's something else that really kind of is a preference for somebody, and you can do it, and it doesn't really matter that much,
right?
I do it. I can do that. Like, so and so, you don't want, you got a roommate and they don't like coats hanging over a chair, but you could care less if it's over a chair. But it really bothers them. You say, I don't really care that much. I can put it in the closet if it's, that's kind of, Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do it. You know.
So do we do things like one of the things that used to bug me is I'd leave the light on in the hallway. Now our hallway is about the size of my finger. It's not very big, and so but I'd leave the light on, and Marcia would go, "Please turn off the light," and I'm like, "But I'm not done. I may go back in there in a minute." Well, that was a bunch of baloney.
Right.
To be honest,
crazy.
So now I try to be very attentive about turning the light off. Do I think it's silly? Yes. Is it important to her? Yes. And because it's important to her, then I should do it. I should honor my wife. It's a simple thing. If I can't just turn the light off, how am I going to do anything else?
Yeah.
So I should do it. There's certain things I think we should do when we're living in motion and taking action in our relationships with other people that we should just do, not because it makes any sense to us, but because it's important to them.
Right. Sure. And we can.
And we can.
Those are those silly fights that couples, I think, get into. And I don't know that I did this much when I was married, but maybe a little, which is this control issue thing. And you start to put a line in the sand over little stuff like this. Because you're telling me what to do, and oh my, ugh.
Now, one of the things that she says, could you use another rag instead of that towel for that? And I'm like, it's going to go in the washing machine, and I need to stop myself and go, wait a minute, why am I arguing about it? Why don't I just do it? It's easy to do. Why don't I just say, okay, sure.
And now, until it's time to draw a line, like the hand towel versus dish towel in the kitchen. There's a hill I die on, and that's one of them.
I know you do.
I die on that hill. The hand towel's the hand towel. The dish towel's the dish towel. And the drying rack for dishes, you do not put dirty dishes on that. Or a can of peanut butter or anything that's dirty cannot go on there. It's for clean dishes only. So we die on that hill.
Yeah.
So we all have a couple of those that we die on. If anyone around me they quickly realize, is it really that big a deal? Just use the towel I said is this dish towel. What do you care?
Right.
If you really care, really? You can't do that? I can make the argument that I'm right about it, but just do it. It doesn't make me crazy.
I have a question for you. So are there new habits of consistency that you, Tom Williams, still need to develop?
Absolutely. Yep, I do. I have to think about it. There's a few of them that I have to.
Yeah.
I think
He's thinking. I can hear the
well,
wheels turn.
as I we'll talk about the action and knowing. Things that get my life a little backward are time management things. As much as I talk about time management, I have some habits of time management that I could improve on. That would be a habit. It would help habits to change. And I know, Monty, I've read Atomic Habits and every other thing that you can have it. And we know intellectually what we're supposed to do. And don't look at the phone in the morning and don't do the things, don't.
Right.
But, do I do it every day? No. And then you have the excuse, I'm so tired. I just want to look at Facebook for a minute. What's the worry about it? And an hour later, you're still doing it. I think it's around procrastination a little bit, and it's around putting some of the things that may cause pain, and maybe this is natural, to the back of the burner that need to come to the front. I always know that an issue that's going to hurt never gets better when you wait. It generally always is worse. Now, unless you're truly holding off to allow some time, but I'll say, I don't want to deal with this because it's going to be terrible. And then, so you don't do it for 3 weeks. And then when you do it, they're like, whatever it was is like, why didn't you tell me before? Or why didn't we deal with this before? Because this has happened. And so those kind of things. How about you?
Yeah. So I one of the things that I've been trying to do is there's a gentleman that I love listening to. His name's Chuck Swindoll. And I have been at, boy, I hate this. I'm going to shoot myself here. I'm trying because I get his, it's only like 20 minutes. I get his devotional every morning in my email. And I'm trying to make that one of the very first things. I grab my coffee, sit down, and say my prayers and listen to the devotional from Chuck Swindoll. And I'm not doing well. I've got several of them in my emails because I get distracted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, an email will pop up. Oh, I got to answer that. Do I? I didn't have to answer it before I knew it was even there.
Right.
Why do I have to answer it now?
Right.
You know, why can't I just sit in? And so and the reason I say I'm shooting myself in the foot here when I say I'm trying is one of the things that my boys heard growing up was there's no such thing as trying. You either do it or you don't. I'd say, put your hand on the table. Let's put the hand on the table. Okay, now try and lift it up. And they'd raise their hand. I'd go, no. Put your hand back down. Try and lift it up. And then they go, oh, it's one of those lessons Dad's teaching us. You know, you either take your hand off or you don't, but there's no such thing as try. See, now it's come back to get me because I'm trying to do that, but am I? No, I'm not. That's one of those habits of consistency. Somehow, some way, I gotta nip this in the bud and get it to be part of my day automatically. Checking the email became part of my day automatically. How come that became so easy?
Yeah, there's something it triggers you. I get distracted. I'll get up and I have devotions too every morning, and it's a daily thing. And I have an email that I read. This Chris Tegrin sends an email every day. So this is just part of my routine. But I got to be careful not to hit the New York Times button on my phone. And the news, thinking I need to be aware of what our country's doing 20 minutes before I'm going to know anyway, and
right,
miss it, you know.
You didn't need to know an hour before.
I did, right. And so I'm with you on that. This distracted. And today, because of all the distractions that can be put in our lives, I mean, these phones are incredible distractions.
Oh, man.
You know, I wish, I mean, as much as a tool they are and how much information comes to it and how much they can help us, boy, can they just paralyze you from doing some stuff that's really beneficial.
Kathy Bates in the movie Waterboy with Adam Sandler. She says, football is the devil, right? No, it's not. This is.
Right.
This iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah, these things. What is that song? In Desperado by the Eagles, there's that one verse. These things that are pleasing you will hurt you somehow.
No. So I just thought about this. Here's an action I could take. I could put the charger and my phone in the other room at night, not have it on my bed table. So
why is it on your bed table?
Well, I have to see what time it is, and the alarm goes off.
Mine too. Yeah,
it's the alarm. But I could do something else. I could go get an alarm clock or a clock that has an alarm, and put the phone in the other room on a charger in the office. And it would absolutely stop me. It doesn't prevent you from walking in and grabbing it, but it's
it makes
not
it hard
right there.
That.
Right.
Yeah.
That I'm going to try that, I think, Monty. We've just come up with a solution right here on the podcast.
Good, you know what? I should do that too, because, you know, I tap my side table. If I tap it, the phone comes on.
Right. Yeah.
Right. To see what time it is.
Yeah.
But why? I've got the alarm set. Why can't I just sleep soundly until the alarm goes on? No, got to check the time. I got to check the time.
And what about this? And I'm telling on myself. And they say this is the real problem. You get up to go to the bathroom at night and you check the time and see a text or an email
Right.
and you read it in the middle of the night
I know.
and respond. I'm like, no, you know? And
I know other people are laughing too because they can identify
I
with
think
that.
I'm going to try it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go today at some point, if I can, to the hardware, go someplace and buy a digital alarm clock and make the switch. I'm going to leave my iPhone in the office tonight on a charger. And I'm going to set the alarm on the clock, and I'm going to report the next time we do a podcast on how
Okay.
it's going.
All right,
See
I'll
if
hold you
that
to
helped.
it.
See if it
Yeah.
helped. I think
Yeah.
that's because the days when you do all your stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
The days that I don't get distracted and I get things done and I go to my devotionals and I get they're better. I feel better about myself. I feel more accomplished. I feel more connected. We're so easy to distract. Why can't I just remember that every day and have that be enough of the motivation, right?
Oh my
We
gosh.
should
All right,
be able to say no, but you know.
yeah. Knows a complete sentence, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're out of time. So closing thoughts from Tom Williams.
Well, I think I'll go back to what I said at the beginning. Well, first of all, if you're struggling with addiction, if you're struggling with recovery and you haven't found a solution, reach out to us. And there are other people in the world that do the steps the way we do it. We're not the only ones.
Right.
And find out where you can go through this process that we went through. Again, we don't have an expectation that you have to do it, but you could maybe find a pathway to freedom. And what it will do is give you a set of tools that'll help you take action in your life, and that'll improve every area of your life. Like you've heard us tell stories today. When you have an issue in front of you, if you can do something about it, do it. If you've done all you can do and you can't do anymore, you got to let it go and move on. If you can't do anything about it, same thing. You got to let it go and move on.
Yeah. A great resource for you listeners is cametobelieverecovery.org. You can find out about private retreats, public retreats, Zoom meetings, 12-step Zoom meetings, testimonials, our shows, of course, all at cametobelieverecovery.org. And the email address, again, if you'd like to write us, maybe you have a prayer request, maybe you have a concern, you just, want to share it with somebody, we're here for you. It's Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, at cametobelieverecovery.org. All right, our closing song is by Mike O'Brien, recovery recording artist, and it's called Stay on the Train. Like I said before, there's a slogan out there that says, if you stay on the train long enough, the view will change. So if you're in a funk and you feel like retreating, it's not a time to retreat. It's a time to press in, to press forward. When the enemy comes a-knocking, you can tell him you got a new landlord. You don't owe him nothing. And you keep moving. Stay in motion. And if you need some support and you need to press in, surround yourself around people that are on the train that can help lift you up. Do not retreat. Not the time to retreat. We're part of the Army of God, you guys. We got to do this thing together. So here's Mike O'Brien with Stay on the Train, and then I'll come back with my closing thoughts. Here's Mike.
It's a hell of a day coming down on me. Didn't see it coming. Now it's surrounding me. But you know what they say, if you stay on the train long enough, the view will change. And that hell of a day, I turn to heaven. There's a devil inside, and he's talking out loud. He's telling me it's no use. Why not throw in the towel? But you know what they say, if you stay in your head long enough, you're bound to be misled, and the devil inside will steal your heaven. But you had it coming. You let down your guard. You must find your heaven right now. But you know what they say, if you stay in your head long enough, you're bound to be misled. Yeah, you know what they say, if you stay on the train long enough, the view will change in a hell of a day. I turn to heaven, so don't you cry, don't you fret. Better days are coming yet. Don't you worry, don't you stress. You'll soon be out of this mess. So don't you cry, don't you fret. Better days are coming yet. And your hell of a day will soon be heaven. Here comes heaven right now. You know what they say, stay on the train. Here comes heaven right now. Stay on the train. Stay on the train.
In recovery, learning new habits of consistency is what turns good intentions into real change. Growth doesn't come from occasional effort. It comes from showing up day after day, keeping in motion, taking action, especially when you don't feel like it, right? Consistency builds trust with yourself. It strengthens discipline and rewires the patterns that once kept you stuck in cycles of relapse or avoidance. Small repeated actions, whether it's prayer, meetings, honest conversations, or self-reflection, become the foundation for a stable and healthy recovery. Saying I'm stuck can feel true, but often it's not that you're stuck. It's that you've stopped. You've stopped moving. Progress doesn't require perfection. It requires willingness. Even the smallest step forward breaks the illusion of being trapped. When you shift from making excuses to taking action, you reclaim responsibility and power over your own life. Recovery is not about waiting to feel ready. It's about moving anyway and letting consistency create the momentum you thought you didn't have. Well, now that's something to think about.
Came to Believe Recovery strives to create and promote opportunities for life-changing spiritual experiences for individuals and families suffering from all forms of addiction. For more information, help, and support, visit cametobelieverecovery.org. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to be your host on this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery podcast. And I would encourage you to like, bookmark, and subscribe to this show. When you do, you will join the Take 12 Recovery Radio family and will be notified of all of our recovery-focused shows throughout the week. Until our next broadcast, when we provide the essential spiritual tools needed to thrive by sharing our experience, our strength, and our hope through our stories of how we came to believe.
This has been a production of Take 12 Recovery Radio.
Kitty, kitty, kitty. Meow.
Woof, woof.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.